sadist. You're free to ask whatever you want to.
Your ideas and stories doesn't make sense at all. Would you mind explaining?
This seems an interesting question. Let me tell you a story. There was a child named Varun, and Varun was really fond of video games back in his childhood. He used to play video games like Contra, Mario day in and day out after returning from school. And he was very curious about how they designed those video games. Though Varun grew older, he lost his interest in video games up until he got a new internet connection. And the first thing Varun googled was how to design a video game. Internet was in his favor. Google showed him a list of softwares that were capable of helping Varun to design video games. And one of them claimed that it has capability to design the game, the environment and the character as real as the real world. Imagine the power that the software had, that it gave a simple computer to design things as real as in real life. Varun got overwhelmed with this and he instantly downloaded the game development engine. And sooner, he started learning and tinkering with the software. Through this course of time, he made games that didn't make sense at all. Later, he started developing things that were a bit inspired from the real world. It had some realistic waterfalls, mountains, houses, a real looking character. After some iterations, Varun designed a complete city out of it, with hundreds of characters on the game. But the problem yet was that the characters it had, they didn't had any capability to move or take decisions on their own. They required people from the real world to control them through keyboards or controllers. It was a multiplayer game. Now parallelly, some scientists and engineers were working on something really interesting and really cool technology named as General AI. General AI is a technology that gives capability to bots to think for themselves so that bots could take decision for themselves. Varun got to know about this General AI project. He learned and he decided that he will give all those 100 players the ability to think by themselves. They'll commit mistakes and they'll evolve over time with trials and errors, just like we do. So Varun implemented the AI module in his virtual city. It was a massive project. Everything was absurd as it was at very nascent stage. But since the characters had capability to think and decide, they started interacting with each other on their own 24/7. There was something happening in this game, with or without Varun this time. This project got so big that Varun had to invest in massive servers in his home. And he did so. Probably he was earning really well. The population of players in the game started increasing as Varun gave them capability to copulate and reproduce as inspired from the real world. Now what happened was, in that game, those beings reached the phase where they started questioning their existence. What's their purpose? As Varun never introduced the purpose to those characters, but the characters started being confused about their life. Now Varun was developer of those characters, those environments, right? So he had his name in his source code. And somehow it reached to those characters. The characters got to know that they were created by someone named Varun. Now the virtual population started praying Varun and made him their god. But still, for Varun, it was just a passion side project. So this is who we are.